Podcasting. Anyone ever thought about having a podcast? Where do I start? Where do I begin? Here's a tip for you, something that I use, Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It is absolutely free, and they provide all the creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer, phone, tablet, whatever device you have. It is super convenient, and Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you. Your podcast can be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Grow your listeners and get as many people as possible to listen to your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Let's do it.
Shows are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Welcome to the Edventures in Tech podcast. Talking the latest tips and trends in educational technology to innovate and engage your students. Here are your hosts, Andrew and Dan.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Adventures in Tech podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Dan.
And Dan's wide awake today, and he's got a lot of coffee in his system, and he's ready to rock and roll.
I'm ready for something. Like I just was saying to you, I'm going off the rails today.
I love going off the rails.
Just hold on tight. Here we go.
Shake the boat.
The moat boat?
The moat boat, yeah. As we recap last week's episode. No. But if you like the content, please help us out by providing feedback and a rating on wherever you download your podcast from. We greatly appreciate your support. There's lots of stuff going on. Dan, I want you to share with the audience the collaborative project you were doing with high schoolers and elementary students.
Okay, so...
That was one word. That's it. Okay, you're done. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right.
Off the rails. Here we go.
I haven't even gotten on the rails yet.
All right, I'll stop.
All right, so trying to bring it back together. So I think we may have mentioned it, but we're working on a PBL project with Golden Age Civilizations. So we're matching up 6th grade classes with a 9th grade class to really work together, to have those 9th graders to be resources for the 6th graders, mentors, and also that authentic audience for the 6th graders to present their final virtual museum projects to. So there's a lot of coordination going on right now. So trying to manage the meeting of the two groups together, but it's super exciting. What I'm really enjoying about this, because right now I've been with the 9th graders mostly in their prep work for their presentation to the 6th graders, and just their ideas and their creativity of finding a means of delivery that would engage their audience. So we really went into a lot of empathy building to see, what information would be important for a 6th grader to know, but also how can we present that information that's going to be engaging for a 6th grader, and also to up that level of excitement for them to really get motivated to learn about these civilizations.
Yeah, and the authentic piece right there with connecting the 6th with the 9th graders is what's just truly powerful. And I think that they're having an authentic audience. These 9th graders are putting a lot more, they're more engaged, right, first off, and they're putting that effort in to be really creative for, their peers. So that's...
And you see a lot of smiles in the class. So that's always good. Like when you're in there and there's a positive vibe in the classroom and everyone seems to be in good spirits, and it just... that atmosphere for learning is great. So
it's contagious.
It is contagious. So giving that student choice, really allowing them to be creative in what their expected outcome is really a positive experience.
That's great. The other thing we do have, we've been launching, we've been teasing, I should say, for a while now, and it's basically like the space shuttle. It's going to go off. It's launching, is the podcasting. Number talks. We have ELA classes involved. So that is literally going to be launching this week. And as that continues to progress through the different steps, we will be sure to keep the audience updated with how that works. All right, Weekly Windup. A lot of different news. Nothing specific with Google, but there was a couple articles that came out that we just wanted to touch on, and a couple other tech platforms wanted to mention. There's an article, the first one that I wanted to mention was, how, introducing new tech without kind of getting the burnout. And,
I mean, I know
tough.
where you're going here, especially with this article, because I think I can speak for both of us. We kind of become tech addicts. Like all of a sudden, we're always looking at what's new, what's great, and we start trying out all these things, and then we realize that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And trying to use all these different things, it's overwhelming for us, but then think of what you're doing to your poor students. I mean, sitting there, oh, try this, try this, try this, try this.
Right.
And it becomes, oh my goodness, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Right. And people start to blame the technology tool or just blame technology in general, but usually it's not the tech. It's often, there's a thoughtful evaluation of your current state and how you want to get to your desired state. And when we talk about tech tools and what's the new thing, we don't want to become more delusional than engaged, I guess is a good way of putting it. So I think, and that's mine and Dan's job, is we review all these things just to give people options, but it has to have purpose.
Right.
And it's structured, a structured choice approach to what is a great tech investment, right? And I know we didn't have the time during the pandemic to research all of it. It was more like we got to get going now. But now things are becoming more stable, so we can kind of research and evaluate instead of a one, blanket approach to, we need this, 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 and this, we can kind of really see where it's going to, benefit education overall.
Right. And you really want to see what is the value add of that technology that you're looking to integrate. Is it really something that's going to promote engagement, to really give you some good diagnostic information? What is your purpose for using this technology? And does the use of this technology really lead you down that path, or does it happen to put up some more obstacles in the way?
Right. And I think, as we keep that audience of what the outcome is in mind, we have to still remember as educators that technology is rarely a one-size-fits-all solution. And I'm not saying just for one period or one class. You may use a variety of tools throughout the course of the year to get your desired results. So, again, as these new things come out, it's definitely something to keep in mind. That ask questions, ask us, find us on the socials, do some research. It's all over. But I definitely wanted to just touch base about that because a lot of the districts are becoming or are already one-to-one. That's in the plan. So how do we develop, and we talk engagement a lot, and I know, and I'm not going to go down that, path right now, but utilizing the technology so there is no burnout. Like you said, moderation all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next thing I thought kind of piggybacks off that, as we're talking the K-12 tech trends to watch in 2022. We always want to empower teaching and learning, and which ones are quickly growing in popularity, and so forth. And we always are talking about AI. Dan, you harp on it. You talk about, we talked about, is it ready for prime time? I mean, 5 years ago, how many people had an Alexa or an OK Google? And I just set everybody's off in their house.
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Alexa.
Yeah. Okay, Google.
Alexa, play the Beatles.
I can't. I'm completely off the rails now.
I warned you. I warned you.
But artificial intelligence and machine learning are showing up in everything from classroom management tools to the security purposes. So I think that is something that we're going to continually see developed, is the AI and the VR as we progress through the years.
But you talk about that AI that's coming into products now that really can do some awesome things. I just want to remind you that the AI is the AI. It's no replacement for a teacher. So, no. But it can definitely save time.
Yep.
For a teacher when they're in the analysis part or grading part of student work. So looking at some products, I see you have some on our list that kind of utilize that AI that can really help a teacher do the best for their students.
Yeah, and as we try to, I don't want to say learning loss, but as we try to close the achievement gap of, different students' abilities from the pandemic and how they learned and support systems at home and so forth, I think that the AI is going to allow teachers to be more efficient and effective, as we've mentioned in the past. I do want to say, we talk a lot about asynchronous learning, and we know that shift to remote learning came the inclination for students to complete lessons, turn projects on their own time. However, asynchronous learning for the older students, will allow for more freedom and flexibility in the school day, which, again, we try to hammer that point home. But I do think that is such a positive thing to have the students. It frees up so much time.
Right.
So the one last thing that I do want to mention, esports. We have talked a lot about it. It is gaining traction in our local area a lot with competitions and leagues amongst many districts. So they are gaining a foothold in K-12. If you have not heard about esports, that ecosystem, it's projected to reach $1.8 billion in revenue this year in 2022. So, and there's a lot of scholarships.
There is.
So if you haven't heard about esports, definitely want to check it out. And again, we will, we'll post a link, in the show notes regarding esports. So, all right. What else did we want to talk about, Dan?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Literably.
Right.
Literably. Literably.com.
And I just want to thank one of our colleagues who turned us on to this.
A listener.
Yes,
yeah.
A listener turned us on to this, and it is, what a resource.
It is. And I was having a conversation with a colleague who is knee-deep in ELA, for lack of a better term. And I think this is just such an impactful tool that it's just literacy assessments, and it's a revolution to make it digitally and make it simplistic in its easiest form. So, for example, what it does is it's taking a running record, and it's giving you the errors, the miscues, the syntax, the visual mistakes, and it makes it digitally in a dashboard for the teacher. And you get 10. It's not free 99 all the time.
Nope.
10 free per month, I believe, right? It is. So definitely check it out. See if it's worth it. I did have the conversation for me personally as a former elementary teacher. I think it'd be worth it. That's just me. But definitely something to check it out, and we'll put that in the show notes.
Right, and that just, looking, as you were mentioning before with the AI, it's not perfect, but it's in here, and it gives that teacher just a spotlight of where to look and how to address the needs, and puts it all right there in an easy-to-read dashboard.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something worth checking out.
Yeah, it gives you the rate, the accuracy, self-corrections, comprehension, so everything is right there, because I know I always had my pencil, and I was checking off every single word that a student would say as they are, orally reading. It makes it so nice, so nice. So definitely something to check out for all of our ELA teachers. The last thing I want to talk is it's like bringing it back, right?
It's like Blockbuster.
Oh, here we go again, right? But something called Plickers, and I don't think many people are utilizing it anymore.
Maybe they are. If people listening out there still using it, would love to hear from you, because I want to try it again.
I'm looking at what Plickers, has done. So basically a quick recap of what Plickers is. You use a mobile device, whether it be iOS or Android. You print out these QR codes. You give each student a specific code, and it's assigned to them. And then you basically what you'll do is the students, it's for formative assessment. They will quickly hold up the card. You scan it, and it gives you all that data.
Right, and it's pretty neat because you get to see the scans through the lens of your mobile device and what they're popping up with, and it does give you a good breakdown of the results for that formative assessment, and it's that non-tech way of gathering that data. So not everybody has devices to them available for all their students. So if you're looking at getting an exit ticket or just doing that comprehension check, and you can't throw out a Google form or use something else, then go ahead, and Plickers is a great option.
Yeah, and like you just said, you don't need tech in your room. That's the best part. You can use your mobile device if you choose to, or if you had, let's say, an iPad or a different kind of Android tablet. It's free, it's engaging, right? And it's used all over the world to assess and collect those instant results. And the thing that I was very excited about when I saw it is how much they've expanded their library.
Right.
You could put YouTube videos in. So forget just what we were talking about in the past with Screencastify Submit and Edpuzzle and all of those, great tools. But again, this is just another tool in your toolbox where, you need, it's a quick video, and you can just scan and get those results immediately. You can put audio in. Think about our foreign language and our music as they're analyzing, student speaking and so forth, and which is the correct rhythm. So that's in there. So there's a lot.
They're really updating the platform. So, before you would just get like a series of questions that you would put into Plickers into the dashboard on Plickers in order to reach your students. But I mean, as Andrew was mentioning, they're adding so much more. Full K-12 math and science support. You have the ability to put in equations, exponents, subscripts, symbols, chemical compounds. I know working with their math and science teachers using digital digital platform for equations is difficult. That's why we love Equadio. But then having that integrated into Plickers makes it pretty neat. And then you're saying you can bring your questions to life with YouTube and Giphy, so you can get a little bit more engagement in there and record and upload audio. That's great for our foreign language teachers and our music teachers as well.
And E&L as well. I mean, I think it's,
for sure.
Such an accommodation for our ELL students.
And your answer choices can be those images, sounds, and videos equations as well.
They've really, really upped their game. So if you have not ever experienced Plickers, and it's something that you think, because you can't use the tech, we know, either it's it's not available, to you, or for a number of, it's used in another part of a building or the district, Plickers is something that you definitely may want to check out. So this episode's focus, we're going to talk about Google tools specifically to support all learners. And we have to give a big shout out to Eric Curts, Control Alt Achieve. We actually had the opportunity to meet and hang out with Eric up at the NICE conference. Eric is a technology integration specialist, certified trainer, Google certified innovator, but you can definitely check him out. He's got tons of YouTube videos and tutorials. He also is very active on social media on Twitter, and we hope to have him. We did talk to him about coming on the podcast.
We did.
But he goes in depth about Google tools to support all learners. And there are a ton of resources. We will post them. But we're going to probably break this down in 2 episodes, we said, because there's so many. Text-to-speech. Let's talk text-to-speech, Dan. I know we've mentioned Read and Write for Google Chrome in the past.
Right. And, and any of those tools, I mean, I have to give another shout-out to Text Help.
Right.
That they provide a, great library of extensions to support all learners, whether it comes to, Read and Write for Google, Equadio, Orbit Note, and some of those fluency things, tools that they've come out with. So, and they're very, very friendly. Teachers can get full premium access for free. So
we'll put that link in.
We'll put that link in again. I think we put it in previously, but you look at tools to support all learners. Text-to-speech is something that comes up a lot in our work, to providing opportunities for that. And, one of the great tools, I think, still is Read and Write for Google.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just does so much. And again, it's free $99. Text-to-speech is one feature it offers. Word prediction, dictionary, right?
Picture dictionary, screenshot readers, translation, highlighters, collecting highlighters, voice notes. I mean, there's so much in there.
Yeah, and there's some optional PDF readers, again, as a Chrome extension, and then they obviously do have an Android version with Google Play Store and iOS.
Right.
So just such a powerful tool overall. Chrome books in general, I feel, are the ecosystem because of cost effectiveness that are more utilized and are just more popular in school district settings right now.
Right, and your Chrome OS has a built-in text-to-speech right in the Chrome box.
I always click it by accident sometimes, and it comes off in that voice, right?
Right.
But so we did, again, so Read and Write for Google Chrome, and we'll put that in there. That's something great. There's Immersive Reader. There's another Chrome extension link.
But, you bring up immersive readers. Immersive readers are built into a lot of tools that we're using. So, people that utilize Flipgrid.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's an immersive reader built right into Flipgrid.
And Wakelet.
I just beat me to that. I was going to say, and Wakelet has an immersive reader in there as well. So these two tools are great. And just pointing that out to students or making you aware that there are immersive readers built into a lot of the tech tools that you're probably already using can definitely be there to support all learners.
Yeah, and so we talk about, that is an immersive reader, but there's also a read aloud, another Chrome extension link, and it's basically a text-to-speech voice reader. So, again, these are just a multitude of options that are going to allow you to have these read alouds, and it'll read aloud current web pages with one click and supports 40-plus languages. That's the key when we talk about our ELL learners. And, again, we're talking accommodations, and it can read PDFs, docs, Google Play Books, Amazon Kindle, EPUBs. So there's a lot that it can use, and if you prefer to listen to content instead of reading it, and it's really going to be beneficial to those with dyslexia or other learning disabilities, and even children learning to read. It's good for them to hear oral reading to process it, so they know how to be reading certain things that they are reading.
All right, so we've gone text to speech. Shall we go speech to text?
Yep, let's do it. There's dictation, which is built right into Chrome OS. Very simple.
I mean, we'll put in links to this where it gives you specific directions on how to set these up on Chromebooks. But setting up the Chromebook dictation is great because you can have that speech to text, and it's not just in a document.
Nope.
It'll be anywhere that you can enter text, you can use speech.
Right.
So, those tools, those accessibility features built right into the Chrome OS can really do a lot for all students.
And I think something that we underutilize overall is Google Docs voice typing.
Right.
It's built into Docs and Slides. So just remember, and it is pretty accurate.
It is. And you can also change the input language in that feature.
Right. So again, for accommodating ELL students, that's huge. Another one is voice-in-voice typing, which is enables voice typing on every website, and you can basically just use voice to text, whether you're in Gmails, answering assignments in Google Classroom, replying to chats. So that's another option in Google Chrome.
And don't forget about Moat.
Yeah, we love Moat.
We love Moat. So looking at that speech to text, that audio input for teachers to give to students, Moat is so well integrated into Google Workspace that it is a great speech to text feature.
Yeah. So as we move on to Google tools and accommodations, I want to talk about readability. So when we talk Chrome OS, they have their high contrast mode built into the Chromebooks. They have full screen magnifiers and a docked magnifier. So we know that the text can look small, and everybody's, visual, how they visualize and they can understand something by looking at it can be a challenge for our students. So things built into Chrome OS are those three, which are great tools to help your students.
One extension that I've been a big fan of for years in terms of readability is Mercury Reader.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, when you're having students out there on the web, they are bombarded with visual information. There's ads, there's pop-ups, there's this, there's that. There's so many distractions on a lot of these web pages, even academic web pages, that, students will, I get lost. I know and then figure students that have, certain, executive function issues, and it's just becomes so distracting. Clicking on the Mercury Reader extension just wipes away all the extraneous information on a web page and gives a clear breakdown of just the text.
Yeah, and that's the best part. It makes it look like a regular article from a newspaper without any ads. Right. And that's the key when you're trying to have the students learn just the content and really pull from it. Listen, I see a squirrel and I look the other way. So imagine the students, depending upon their age, they can quickly lose their focus. So we want to make sure that they're getting, it's engaging to the point where it's what we need to hammer home, those points. I did want to mention Google Fonts, fonts.google.com, and the Lexen font is the very popular one. And you can see There are a ton of font families. You can choose all the different languages. You can choose different categories for the font, and it basically allows for a specific amount of spacing. And sometimes if a font is too close together, the variable there is your eyes will not be able to process things as quickly. So sometimes people need that more spacing, or it makes it wider, and you're able to use that font and type a sentence and see if it's something you like. And again, and not just fonts, they also have a ton of icons on that page, with open source. They have library material things that they can kind of show you. So it's a bunch of different material icons that you can have downloadable sizes and densities to see what's best to put in. We talk about clip art. We talked about what auto draw last week. So those things can kind of help so it's easy on the eyes.
And there's a few more extensions out there in terms of readability that specifically address dyslexia.
Yep.
So, there's a bunch out there. I definitely recommend going to our show notes and clicking on the link, but there's the dyslexia-friendly extension, Open Dyslexic. So there's things out there that you can have students add into their Chrome experience.
Put it in your toolbox.
Put it in the toolbox.
So let's talk about reading comprehension.
Right.
A big one. Google has everything, right? I mean, they do.
They do.
Google Dictionary. Very simple. It's a Chrome extension link. You can add it. It comes up. It's a little red dictionary with the letter A, and it just lets you view definitions easily as you browse the web. It's a pop-up, that comes up automatically, and you just double-click any word to view its definition in a small pop-up bubble. You can also get its pronunciation. So it's just a great tool that will help all of the users when it comes to search. And we know something that I do want to just mention. We always check with your district that things, as long as there's no sign-in, they are EdLaw 2D compliant.
Right. The other thing I want to point out, you don't even need an extension for the Google Dictionary a lot of the time. So if students are working in a Google Doc, they can simply highlight and right-click and use the define for a term. So that's in there as well. Or under tools, you'll see the define in the dictionary in there built right into Google Docs as well.
Something I saw too was Quillbot.
I have Quillbot. I've installed it. I've been playing with it. It is really, really cool.
You just summarize any text with a click of a button?
Yes.
Why was this not out for me?
I don't know.
You input, output? This is just...
Too bad it only summarizes text.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Thanks.
But no, I've actually...
There's the rails.
I've put Quillbot in, and it really does it'll take any text that you're putting in there, or anything you highlight, and it'll summarize things, but then it'll give you a breakdown of the summary and really give you a lot of information to go along with it. So it's one thing to help summarize your own work, but when you're working with students in the writing process and teaching them about summary, it is a good tool to have.
Yeah, and there's another one very, very similar to Quillbot. It's called Summary. It's just SMMRY. You bookmark it. It's one-click summarization, and then the students are able to basically have that article summarized and really get the key teaching points from it. Another one that I thought was cool was Auto Highlight, which automatically highlights the important content on article pages, and sometimes, depending upon what devices our students have access to, that could be beneficial to really make sure they get the main ideas and key ideas and points from that article.
Yeah, so these are great tools, and it's, like we were mentioning earlier, we're not saying go run out and use all these tools, but if this is something that can add to your learning environment, then definitely put that in there. But I highly recommend to our listeners, go out and look at these different things that are available to make accommodations for students.
Right. So as we are going to wrap up, I do want to talk about audio support. I know we were kind of going to hold off, but we've kind of touched base on them.
Just want to point out too, before we get away from reading comprehension, that there are some great resources out there and articles that you can differentiate the level of the article. So Newsella has great leveled articles. ReadWorks. I know is something that has those leveled articles as well.
Yep, News and Levels and Tween Tribune are two others, and again, we will post those links. I do want to close with audio support. We did spend a ton of time on Moat, but again, that's a great tool for audio support. We've also spent a ton of time on Read and Write for Google Chrome. And we've talked about how that's free, for educators. And lastly, something that, sometimes gets overlooked is Google Slides. And we were waiting for so long when this was first announced, and they had to keep postponing it. But the option just to insert audio from your Google Drive. So wherever you're capturing your audio, you can now automatically put it into Google Slides, whether it be, the teacher itself or the students.
And I love that because the insert audio in Google Slides, Moat has taken advantage of that.
Yep.
So often it's like, where do I record my audio to put it in a Google Slide? So now you can just write inside the Google Slide. You can create a Moat, and then it puts it right into that slide deck for you.
Yeah, we're big fans of Moat. Definitely, if you're not familiar, talk to, actually just listen to episode 14, the Moat Boat, with the VP of Education, John Neal. Fantastic tool. I love that it's coming up on my show notes here for Hypermoat. So it's really engaging and built in automatically into the Google ecosystem. So, Dan, any final thoughts on episode 15 and Google tools to support all learners?
Just want to put out there that a lot of these tools can be used to support learners, but as you look, they can also be used for differentiation. So
Right.
We're talking about those audio supports in slides. You can definitely use those different levels within a slide deck that you create in order to differentiate experiences for students. Just the ability to have things like immersive readers in certain platforms that you use can definitely differentiate assignments. The Newsella with leveled articles. So
Right.
being aware of all these different tools out there makes it a little bit more manageable to really reach all of your learners, and especially utilizing a digital learning environment. As you know, a lot of schools are one-to-one, or there is that technology infrastructure in place. We can do things that we couldn't normally do before.
Yeah, so it's really going to level the playing field for all the students to ensure that they're getting the concepts and grasping the content that you really want them to, to understand. So that's going to put a wrap on episode 15. Once again, thank you for all your support, listening on all the platforms, leaving us reviews, and reaching out to us on all the socials. Again, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please reach out. Tech hard, work smart, live in adventure.
Find Andrew on all socials at A Nicola Tech and Dan at WCSD Tech DR.